Welcome to the OnPar podcast. I'm your host, Drew D. Alberto, and my co-host here, Sean Kicker, was at the Honda Classic, and that's going to be the main focus of this episode. So we're looking forward to hearing all about your experience this
What's
past
up, Drew?
weekend.
How you doing, man? Good
Great,
to see you.
great. So let's start with the Honda in general as a tournament. What sets this tournament apart and makes it special and different?
Well, it's a cool thing. I mean, it's a staple here in the South Florida area. It's been around since really 1968, I think it was, and it was originally at Country Club of Miami, if you can believe that. So, I mean, you know what Country Club of Miami is like today. Imagine that was once a PGA Tour stop. I mean, it's crazy to think, right? But it once was. And in 1972, the great one, Jackie Gleason, started his Inverary Classic when he built Inverary, which was a beautiful facility that is no longer around. And there's going to be a recurring theme when it comes to the Honda Classic, of courses that are no longer around. Jackie Gleason's Inverary is one of them. Later on it became the Honda Classic. 1984 became the Honda Classic, and it's an interesting fact that it was one of the richest events on the PGA Tour at the time. You want to take a guess as to what the purse was?
In 1972?
Yeah, so I'll give you a hint. This year's purse for the Honda Classic was $8.4 million, with 1.5 little and some change, going to the winner.
So
What do you think it was back
80 or 90 grand, maybe?
It was $260,000 was the total purse, with $52,000 going to the winner. I mean, let that sit in.
50 grand.
And I did a little bit of research, like what was the average median income in 1972?
Okay.
$7,450. So I mean, you were still doing very, very well versus the average person. Even though the purses have grown quite a bit, there was still a gap even
Those
way
are
back
pretty
then.
wild numbers still,
Isn't
though.
it? I'm a stats guy. I love
No,
stats.
and that's good. I mean, you bring that to the table here. So give us some of the all-time greats and who won it when, and run us down the real stats. Like who are some names we know and some names we don't that have won
just
it?
Hall of Famers. It's a who's who of who has played the game professionally. Tom Weiskopf, Lee Trevino, Jack Nicklaus won it multiple times. Larry Nelson, Tom Kite, Johnny Miller, Hale Irwin, Curtis Strange. And that was just all the original Honda Classic. And then it moved to Weston Hills, 1992, 93, 94, 95. And there's some really big names there. You got Freddie Couples, Nick Bryce, Mark O'Meara. We're talking multiple major championship winners during that. And then it went back to Eagle Trace, okay, for one season. And then they opened up TPC at Heron Bay from 1997 to 2002. Guess what?
That course is gone.
That course is gone
now,
too.
yeah.
So,
Not an option.
Yeah,
anymore.
not an option. Went to Mirasol for 3 years. You got players like Justin Leonard and Luke Donald, two really, really good golfers. And then from 2007 till present day, right at PGA National, which is it's a great facility. That Champions Golf Course is one of the best in South Florida, in my opinion.
And you said it was in the best shape you've ever seen it. What does that mean to us?
Honestly, it just looked pristine from start to finish. And, I had been at PGA National for multiple events. I was there in 1983 for the Ryder Cup.
Okay.
I was there in 1987 for the PGA Championship. And it was just different. The conditions are different. The layout basically is the same, but they've changed the greens, they've changed the bunkers.
Okay. And then tell us about this year. We know you were a pace of play. You were there on Sunday.
Yeah, inside the ropes and as a spectator.
So give us the pace of play story, and then give us the Sunday at the Bear Trap and at the Honda in general, and talk to us about it.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't realize is all of the PGA Tour events raise a ton of money for charity, hundreds of millions of dollars for charity. And they do this through these pro-ams that they have. And the Honda Classic has multiple pro-ams, and we talked a little bit about this in previous episodes. But the PGA of America is comprised of 27,000 men and women, just like myself, that run golf courses. We don't play professional at a high level anymore. We're not on the PGA Tour. We don't have status there, but we're the local club pro that you go to for help with your golf game and run the golf courses. So we are what's called pace of play ambassadors. So we go inside the ropes with the group. You've got your pro, and you've got your 4 amateurs, and you've got your scorer, and we just walk around the golf course and watch them play. The pace of play thing is interesting because it's a 5.5 hour round. I don't care what you do. It's got nothing to do with the fact that people are playing slow. It's a difficult golf course. You're playing PGA Tour conditions, which is high rough, fast, firm greens, water everywhere, and it's extremely long.
So what makes it a more challenging course besides that? I mean, is it the greens? Is it the hazards? Is it all of that? What makes it more challenging?
Yeah, it's kind of all of the above. The difference between the Honda and the way the course is normally played is when the course is normally played, it's a par 72. There are 4 par 5s.
Okay.
For a number of different reasons, they've shortened it to a par 70. So they've made some of the shorter par 5s into long par 4s.
Okay.
Number 6 on the front 9 and number 10 on the back 9. For the PGA Championship in '87, those were both played as par 5s.
Gotcha. And we'll talk later in another episode about how golfers are just bombing the ball in the PGA and the LPGA. We're saving that for another episode, and why golf courses are in general getting longer as well.
It's crazy. The first round that I was out there with one of the professionals, the third hole, that was the second hole. The second hole is 436 yards, and it was driver gap wedge for him into this hole. I mean, that's insane.
He might as well be standing on the green practically at that point.
I mean, that was a driver 3-iron for us back in the day.
Okay, and then so this year you were there on Sunday. So tell us about anything you want to tell us about the tournament or Sunday specifically or the Bear Trap. Give me the rundown of what it was like to be there. Who won, which everybody already knows anyway. But talk to me about that.
I mean, the Bear Trap is the next coolest thing on the PGA Tour other than the waste management.
Right.
It's the 17th hole. Danger everywhere. And it's the type of hole that if you hit it anywhere near the flag on a Sunday hole location, which they have it in the back right corner of that particular green, anyone that hit at that flag was done by accident, I can assure you, because most players all day long, I said to the guys that I was sitting with, I said, listen, you're going to see 2 things today. Okay, you're going to see a whole lot of bailout short left because there's that little bailout area, or you're going to see shots in the water, and that's exactly what we saw. We got to see lots of guys rolling up the pant legs and taking the shoes off and getting down there and dirty. I got a great video of one he was short in the water, and he blasted it out, but he blasted it over the green into the water.
That was the video you sent to us.
That was the video.
So we'll make sure Curfton puts that on the episode somehow. So, and who won? Tell us about the winner.
Well, Chris Kirk. I mean, it's a great success story, and this is what I love about perseverance. He's another guy that had a big gap in between wins, and he wanted to. Somebody said you're like a robot out there, and that was exactly what he wanted. Was to just be emotionless, stay in the moment, not make a lot of mistakes, and he persevered through it. Ended up in a playoff. The kid that was chasing him, Cole, who I have a connection to because his uncle used to work for me, Bo Ball.
Okay. So
I know the kid well. He's had his fair share of health problems over the years, and it was just a great event.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, we can go up into the Sean's Pro Tip of the Week, and it kind of coincides with what does Drew want to know, so we're going to, for the first time, combine them. Because the question I asked you on the golf course the other day was, what ball should I be using and why? And you said that's a perfect Pro Tip of the Week, so let's combine them. So go for it, Sean. Give me the answer.
It depends on which level you're at right now. Okay, so when you're just starting out in the game of golf, the cheapest golf ball is possible because you're going to lose a ton of them, right?
Sure.
You hit a bunch of them in the water, you're going to hit them out of bounds, you're going to lose them.
Yeah, new golfers measure their golf day by how many balls they lost in the water. I get it. Or the woods. Totally. I understand.
Yeah, I remember vividly as a beginner golfer with my father, have 24 golf balls and wonder, wait a second, do we have enough to get through this round, depending on which golf course we're playing here in South Florida? Because there's water everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you're looking at the top grade golf balls, okay, the $50 a dozen plus, and there's multiple manufacturers of them. What you're paying for is you're paying for performance and consistency. Okay, so top grade golf balls, what are they? Titleist Pro V1, Pro V1X, and the Titleist AVX. And the difference between the three of them really is just a slightly different trajectory, slightly different spin rates, slightly different feel. You know, from softest to firmest on the feel, and that's just all preference. But they're super high performing golf balls. You take that versus their cheapest model, which is under $30 a dozen, that Titleist True Feel, totally different performance. It's constructed completely different. The core is different. The cover is different. The dimple configuration is different. And as all those things change the aerodynamics and then the flight components of a golf ball.
Okay, and then, you know, they got Callaway, they got Titleist, they got, I mean, the list goes on and on. So,
yeah, so as I run down the list of top grade golf balls, like you want high performance, you want the golf ball that the tour players are playing. We mentioned all the Titleists, but TaylorMade has the TP5 and the TP5X. Okay, Callaway's got the Chrome Soft and the Chrome Soft X. Okay, and then you've got the other high performing golf balls that are a little less money. It's that $40 to $49 range. You got the Bridgestone, the ball that Tiger plays, the Bridgestone Tour B Series. It's the BX, the BXS, the RX, the RXS. Again, what are the difference in all of those golf balls? It's just a slightly different cover, slightly different dimple configuration. It's going to vary the flight of the golf ball, whether you need it to be higher or a little bit lower. Okay?
Yep.
You want more spin? Do you want less spin? And most recreational players, they're not going to know the difference.
Okay.
A less spinning golf ball is going to help them on the tee because they're generally imparting a whole lot of excess spin, meaning side spin versus backspin to a golf ball.
Yeah, and then you got like our good friend Chris Burr, Steady Returns. He's one of our sponsors. He's a friend of ours. I played a bunch of rounds with him up at Monarch and down here in Davie before he moved up there. He plays Vices and he loves them, and he puts his Steady Returns logo on them and he gives them away as gifts, and a lot of his clients love them. So what about Vice?
Oh, I mean, Vice is a company that it's like an off-brand. Okay, you go to Publix, you go to Walmart, you go to any store, they've got their off-brand. They have different levels of Vice golf that are the same as everything else. They have a ball that competes with the Pro V1, they have a ball that competes with the Tour Speed and Tour Soft, and then they've got a ball that represents the low-grade golf balls like Pinnacle. Okay, and there's just tons and tons of those balls out there. So
does it get to a point where it's just basically got to try a few different ones and feel comes into play, and probably it's, I mean, at a level where you're barely breaking 100, or maybe you've broken 90 a few times, it's probably in our head more than anything else, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're not breaking 100, then you're not going to notice the difference from one golf ball to another. You're not even going to notice really the feel. You're certainly not going to notice the performance. Where it really shows its head is around the greens and out of the bunkers. When you have that high performance golf ball with the softer cover, the ball's going to spin more, it's going to stick more, it's going to be able to perform a little bit better.
Got it.
The other ones, they're just built for distance, speed, not a whole lot of feel to it. They feel like rocks to an experienced golfer.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty much it. So let's jump into some upcoming events. I know we've got March 14th, the Ambassador 9 holes. Why don't you kind of give us the rundown on that fun event coming up on March 14th?
Yeah, March 14th, we've got a 9-hole golf outing for the ambassadors and young professionals. If you're interested in joining the group, if you're interested in what the First Tee is doing for the local community, for the kids, for the veterans and people with special needs, come on out. It's a $20 entry fee, and you're going to get a $20 gift card from the PGA Tour Superstore, so it's like you're paying nothing. And then we get a discounted cart fee rate through the City of Sunrise at the Bridges of Springtree. It's a fun little golf course. You play 9 holes, takes maybe an hour and 15 minutes. got your golf fix in, get to do a little bit of networking with some people that are associated with First Tee.
I love those events, and I'm really glad they're back in action. And then we got another First Tee event coming up on April 11th, the Connect event.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. That's the feature Connect event that is going to feature an actual golf clinic. So a lot of times we have these social gatherings and these mixers and these networking events, and we talk about what we do with First Tee, but it's another thing to see it in action, to see the kids that are going through a golf clinic, going through the life skills process, getting the core values and how that applies to life. Totally different experience. And then you get to meet some of these kids afterwards, and you can't help but be impressed. You really cannot help but be impressed with a young man or a young woman in today's day and age that can walk up to you and shake your hand and look you in the eyes and have an honest to goodness conversation. And we always refer to it as less screen time, more green time.
There you go. Love a little green time. So speaking of that, you've got your next season for spring coming up for First Tee. So what if they want to join my daughter Tessa in your class or one of the other classes around Broward?
Yeah, well, there's 13 of them. There's 13 golf course programs located in Broward County. If you go to our website, firstteebroward.org, and click on program locations, you can find a location that's nearest you. And we have blanketed the county. So any corner of which you live in, you're going to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most from a green grass golf course First Tee program.
Perfect. So that's easy to find. Just go to firstteebroward.com, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So also make sure you save the date for May 5th. The Celebrity Broadcasters Tournament, second annual by Doc Reno at My Family Matters Foundation. It's going to be a big Cinco de Mayo party with a golf tournament additionally attached to it. Sean and I will be there doing a live podcast, maybe our first one, but we might have one more that I have to surprise you with on, we'll see. And, if you want to get involved in that, just go to the My Family Matters Foundation. It's also on birdies.com. You can sign up. You can sponsor. We would love to see you out there. I know we're going to be giving away golf ball marker poker chips from OnPar at that event, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. And then some of the upcoming episodes we've got are, we're going to do kind of a Masters and Players Championship, talking about those. We got Tiger Woods is building a new 8,000 yard plus golf course, so we'll be talking about that on an episode. Sean and I have near and dear to our hearts the 100-hole challenge, so we'll be talking about that. And then probably that's going to be a favorite on YouTube is we've got the training aids episodes coming up, which is probably going to be at least 2 parts.
Yeah, we'll probably do those outdoors, on site,
or at the PGA store,
yeah,
or whatever. But the idea there is Sean and I are going to go through me asking him what training aids we should be using and what ones are just gimmicks that should go back to the store or be thrown in the trash, essentially.
Well, the thing is, there's so many training aids out there, right? And we've had this conversation, like it becomes overwhelming. Here's the thing about training aids: there's a million of them out there, but they're mostly working on one aspect of the golf swing. And anything that says I've got the cure for everything is selling you snake oil off the back of it in the Midwest, right? Off the back of a trailer in the Midwest. You have to understand what context, what portion of the swing, and what the purpose of that training aid is. And once you understand that, it becomes a lot easier to use them, and they do have good function. But there's a great scene in Tin Cup where Kevin Costner's in his trailer because he's having all kinds of problems with his swing, and he's got this training aid attached and that one is training attached.
I like the one where he's on the range and he's hitting balls down the line, and his caddy
makes chili peppers up Lee Jansen's,
change his pocket, change the change in your pocket, and turn your hat around backwards, and then he just hits one right down the fairway because he's not thinking.
That's a
good one. All right, well, this episode was brought to us today by Steady Returns. Chris Burr and his brother Mike have a great program where they have a focus on the healthcare system and the crises that are going to come up. And if you're looking for a new financial advisor or just somebody to bounce ideas off, he can get you Steady Returns. So go to steady-returns.com and book your appointment with Chris Burr today.